just like to make an official presentation to Peter for thanking him for his comments and remarks on behalf of IHS. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. Let me move the microphone down to my height. Very tall gentleman. Well, I'd like to move the program forward, and we're very delighted and pleased to have our next speaker. And in fact, I was reading his biography a little while ago, and he's a very impressive guy. A marathon runner, a business executive, a philanthropist, and someone who's got a lot of experience in our industry. And as a local plastics executive, we're very delighted and pleased to have him share some of his thoughts with us about the market downstream as a converter fabricator. So with that, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Yavuz Eroğlu, President of Sem Plastik, to share some remarks about the downstream converting business. So join me in welcoming him.
Ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow speakers, I'm really honored to be addressing you, these selective people from our industry. First of all, I also would like to welcome you to Istanbul, this lovely city. When Mr. Napoleon Bonaparte, when he had in the history a big word about Istanbul, he said that if world would be one country itself, then Istanbul should be the capital. So I'd like to welcome you to the capital of the future and of the plastic industry, I wish. So I'd like to start from some interesting point, but before that, I would like to introduce myself. So what is my background that I'm talking about is mostly. I am general manager of Sem Plastik, which is a converting company doing plastic disposables and food packaging. And we have a group of companies, other companies, related in also distribution of plastics, and also another company in designing of plastic packaging products. And I'm also the Vice President of Turkish Plastic Industry Association, and I'm also a European Plastic Converters Executive Committee member. So with all this my hats, with all of them, I'd like to give some information about the Turkish plastic industry and how we can, converting industry, and how it can become the hub in the future. So let's start with first when we are talking about Turkey. So Turkey is a country which you know is one of the booming countries for the last years. And we know that the GDP of Turkey, except we can see this crisis time, is always growing up. So it's a country that seems to be investable from these numbers. Now at the moment, Turkey is, if you look at the world's economic figures, it is number 17 in the world. It has also aggressive targets for the future, but 17 is also quite good at this moment. Important issue, if we are talking about investment opportunities, at these conditions of the world, which we have still inside the crisis, is the public sector gross debt stock. This is one of the big problems in Europe that we are facing now. So when you look at the Maastricht criteria to be one part of the EU, Turkey has already exceeded by far this criteria, and I don't want to compare it with the European countries, so most of them is out of it. So just to say that Turkey is a country still under this crisis, an investable country. Export performance, the export performance of Turkey is is brilliant. I mean, it's increasing. This is, without a question, you can see the figures going up. I'm not going to go deep inside the figures because you can have the presentation and you can see the figures. But most important thing is you see that the increase is substantial and it's still going on. We have some small problems because of the current account deficit, but apart from that, generally speaking, export performance is really good. When we are talking about the exports, then we have to speak about also the crisis and EU, because you know that Turkey has been the biggest trade partner of the European Union for a long time. And when we are talking about a partner of European Union, then we should be talking about also possible crisis, because now, generally speaking, the European Union exports of Turkey is decreasing. But the good thing is Turkey has made new markets for itself. So you can see that the market increase in the other countries shifted from Europe to other countries. So this is also a positive thing about lessening down the fragility of the Turkish economy and exports. So to cut it short about the Turkish economy, I'd like to give some figures of 2012 outlook of Turkish economy. We have also, I put also the government estimations. Last year they were let's say, the targets was met, so we can also think that this year, most probably they will meet most of the targets. So we can see that they are expecting a growth of 4%. Maybe it will be more than this one. This is, I think, the minimum it can be. And then we have the rates of inflation, everything. And we can see that the most worrying situation about the Turkish economy is the current account deficit. And the reason for the current account deficit will be one of the issues that we can also talk about the plastic industry at this moment. Because why we have the current account deficit? It's very easy. Because the products that Turkey is exporting, mainly the product basket, is not very profitable, is not a lot of value addition. So when we export, we mainly import and we process and we put a small value addition and export. So we have to change the product basket of Turkey to have a better current account deficit. And the government is making a lot of precautions, a lot of laws against this one, which is affecting the petrochemical industry, which I'm going to talk about the taxes put just to make this current account deficit better, and the new investment incentive for the petrochemical industry, which is pushing the petrochemical investors to Turkey. So, this is about the Turkish economy. So I would like to be fast on this side, so I'm going to be more slow in the future. So this is about, another thing is about, if we are talking about opportunities in Turkey for a converter, then we have to talk about the country's general advantages. And what's that? We know that Turkey is a high increased population country. That's something positive for GDP. We know that in economy, when you have a high birth rate, then you will have high GDP. But there is some other issues about the per capita, etc. But anyway, GDP is directly related with the population, and that's something positive. We have high population increase. The favorable demographic profile, it means that we have a young population. This is one of the good strengths of Turkey if we are talking about any kind of investment. And also, there's an easy access to diversified market, which means that Turkey has a great location. That's why Napoleon said this word. It's not because that he wanted to acquire Istanbul for sure, I guess. So we can see that 1/4 of the world's population, world's, let's say, GNP, gross national product, is in 4 hours flight distance of Turkey. And also 1/4 of world's population is also in 4 hours flight of Turkey. So that means market. That means market, and market is very important. I'd like to say something that I will say maybe later now, because market is getting more and more important. What I mean, in the past we know that from the petrochemical industry and for the global trade industry, the markets and feedstock dilemma. Feedstock was more important, much more important than the markets in the past. But now this is changing, especially during the crisis in 2008, after China's aggressive investment on petrochemicals. We now, today, see what has happened. We see that there's a lot of change in the market. The export markets of the exporting countries of the Far East, they need to find new markets. The Middle East, they try to find new markets of the Far East. Also because of what has happened in 2008, governments taking a lot of trade barriers to save their own economy. This is giving a more and more importance to the market itself. So converters are getting more and more important. Now, talking about Turkey, again, about the general advantages, we know that there's a lot of global production here, especially in automotive industry, but also other industries, which means skilled people. We have increasing production in high quality packaging products, which means, especially you see that in packaging, barrier packaging, smart packaging, that we have in Turkey now. It's increasing. Even there is a new law passing from the cabinet. It's about the barrier packaging, and especially on smart packaging, that will increase the market here in Turkey. That's a highly increasing market because we know that there's a directly proportional relation between the GDP and the consumption of proteins. So we know that undeveloped countries with low GDP, they would consume less protein, and the countries with a high GDP will consume more protein. And the good thing about protein for our business is it's easily getting spoiled and it needs packaging. So we love protein.